Hello, thank you for joining. My name is Jose de la Luz Martinez. I'm a grazing land specialist for the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and I'm going to be talking to you about general grazing management. Starting with the biggest factor affecting the success of your grazing land operation, which is stocking rate. Stocking rate is defined as how many animal units are you putting in a given amount of land for a given amount of time. And it is measured by acres per animal unit. If I have 10 cows in 100 acres, my stocking rate is 10 acres per animal unit. If I have 20 cows in 100 acres, my stocking rate is 5 acres per animal unit. This number should be directly tied to the amount of forage that the land is producing, defined as our carrying capacity. Because we can very easy overgraze or undergraze our land, what are good ways we can do to determine a correct stocking rate? One is to determine true grazable acres of your land. Out of the entirety of your land, how much of that is infrastructure? Your houses, your hunting camps, oil pads, holding facilities, roads, all that is going to be determined ungrazable. Ponds, all that brush that is so thick a cow cannot access in there, that's going to be ungrazable. And distance from water. In South Texas, a cow is not likely to travel further than 3/4 of a mile from water, especially in the 4 hottest months of the year. So everything that is out there is not as reliable as the rest, so that's going to be ungrazable. Based on what you have of grazable acres, then you can determine a more accurate carrying capacity of your land. Another way, I strongly recommend you to go to websoilsurvey.com. This web page, in this web page you can map your land, and it's going to tell you soil type existing there, and then you can put the different plant community that is there. Based on that, you can have a very accurate forage production, and based on that you can have a good carrying capacity of the land. Another way is using a yardstick. We call this a range stick. With this you can have a square yard in your ground, and then clip all the forage that is existing there, and then weigh it. The grams that you have in a square yard multiplied by 10.7 is going to be equal to the amount of pounds per acre. You can extrapolate that forage from grams to pounds per acre. In this case, that bag was 330 grams times 10.7. That's 3,531. So just by doing this, I know that a piece of land that looks like this is producing me 3,500 pounds per acre. And another way is to let us know. Contact me or contact your local NRCS office. Let them know that you're interested in doing a forage inventory, so you can have a better understanding of the true carrying capacity of your land. A common question that I get is, how can I increase the carrying capacity of my land? Which is the same thing as, how can I increase the forage production of my land? And one way is brush management. Of course, in South Texas, we will always fight mesquite, huisache, prickly pear, black brush. Whether done mechanically or chemically, we can switch a low producing brush thicket into grasslands. Also make sure of your grazing distribution. Make sure that every acre is grazed evenly. A cow is lazy if she's gonna fulfill her diet, shelter, and water requirements in a small amount of acres. She has no incentive to move away, resulting in overgrazed land and undergrazed land in the same pasture. You can incentivize her to move by changing your mineral stations throughout the pasture, for example, doing cross fencing, which brings me to the other point, rotational grazing. Research shows that if you follow a proper rotational grazing system, you can increase the carrying capacity of your land up to 30% by resting pastures between grazing periods. Now, we talk about animal unit as our sample size. The thing is that in the last 40 years, the average size of a cow has gone from 1,000 pounds to 1,400 pounds. This is a good example to see that size comparison. She's 1,000 pounds and she's over 1,300 pounds. They both gave us a calf this year, and the big cow is likely to win her calf a little heavier than the smaller cow. The thing is, it's not for that much. Research has shown that difference is from 5 to 35 pounds, and that is not enough to justify how much the big cow has taken of forage more in comparison to the smaller cow. We're going to require 10.5 acres to fulfill her diet requirements in a year, compared to 8 acres to fulfill her diet requirements in a year. In other words, we can have, for every 3 of these cows, we can have 4 of the smaller cows. Also, research has shown that a smaller cow is going to reach her sexual maturity sooner and is going to have higher calving rate in comparison to bigger cows. It is important as part of a sound grazing management plan to have efficient grazers on our side. Now, another part of your grazing plan should always be monitoring your grazing lands. For example, don't let Bermuda grass drop below 3 inches, or don't let buffalo grass drop below 8 inches tall. Remember that we have 2 growing seasons, one in May and one in September. The rain that happens closer to these months is going to be the one that determines the amount of forage production we have in a year. We're in the middle of December. If rain happens today, that rain is not going to have the same effect as it would in the middle of our growing season. Remember to be flexible. The carrying capacity of the land changes from year to year, so as it should be the stocking rate. If for some reason you cannot be flexible, stock your land to 70% of its capacity to give you some leeway during dry years. In a body condition score from 1 being extremely skinny to 9 being obese, you want your animals to be from 5 to 6 all the time. Don't let them drop below 4, because their efficiency is going to drop too. I also encourage you to go to NOAA.com. There is this new technology that can forecast and predict the temperature and the rainfall for all next year, all 2021. You can know more or less what's going to happen in terms of temperature and rainfall. This is new technology, really important information to help you make sound decisions on your grazing plan. This has been a lot of information real fast. Thank you for sticking with me. If you have any questions or comments about these or other topics, please contact me or your local NRCS office. Again, thank you.